What's going on, everybody? What's going on, all my beautiful, loyal supporters and subscribers? Today we have a brand new video, another political video. Now this is on News Talk, which, you know, not saying anything, guys, but they are the establishment, they're the mainstream media. So today we have Mr. Niall Boylan, who's running for European election candidacy, and he's challenging Kieran Cuddihy, or whatever his name is. But this guy is obviously mainstream, guys, and he's going to be arguing with Niall Boylan, kind of giving him the runaround. Seems like he's going to railroad him. I saw like a 10-second clip on Twitter, so I said I had to react to this one. So like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you guys like County Gains News Network a lot better than News Talk. I'm guessing you would. I would love to have Niall Boylan on my show. You know, it would be a proper and professional discussion. It would be a lot better than anything this Kieran mainstream guy would put out. I'll just put it to you that way, guys. I'd be a much more fair guy. Like, this Kieran guy seems like, I don't know, he has an agenda, guys. You know, he's paid by the big shots, let's just say. So anyway, guys, let's get into it.
Niall Boylan is with me in studio, the Classic Hits broadcaster, candidate for the European election in the Dublin constituency for Independent Ireland. Niall, you're welcome to studio.
Thanks. It's unusual to be on this side of the desk.
Yeah, to be answering questions.
I'm getting used to it.
Instead of asking them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you want to be an MEP?
I've been 30 years on radio, and my show differs from yours in the sense that I take callers on the air. I also talk to politicians and everything else, and I've been doing that for many, many years. But it's mainly caller-based show. I worked it out, actually. I calculated it because at one stage I was doing 2 shows a day on Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. And I worked it out that over the 30 years, I've probably taken 250,000 calls. And they range from people being happy to telling me something like a joyous event, to people being angry, to people being frustrated, or people being devastated because they can't afford the food on their table. And
yeah, his show is crazy, man.
as much as I'm a good empathetic ear and I can listen to them, and at best I can send a letter off to whatever department because they can't get an appointment, and they'll always give me the same answer that probably you get as well. Sorry, we can't comment on individual cases. I feel I'm not doing enough for them. So because I'm 30 years doing it, and people have been saying it to me, Niall, why don't you do something with them more? Why don't you run for election? So I was approached by Independent Ireland not so long ago. I initially turned it down. I kind of said, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And then I started thinking about it. I was talking to my wife, Karen, and I went, I'll just go for it. Feck it. I'll just go for it.
Is it daunting?
It is. It kind of feels like a bit of an uphill battle in some sense because I'm seeing a different side of the media. No disrespect. But
he's seeing that politics is the most dirty business in the world. It's the most corrupt thing ever. Politics is shady and dirty and disgusting. Also, the media is scandalous. They just run through you. But hopefully, bro, I have my own media platform. So does he. So he can kind of fight back. You know, if I was ever to run for election, which I said I would in Galway, but I actually probably missed the boat on that one, guys, because I actually didn't put myself up yet anyway. There's still time, but not much time, honestly. But
I'm seeing a different side of the media. But that's okay. I expected that. But you know what was really overwhelming? The story was leaked. I was going to put it out the next day anyway, on Tuesday, which was yesterday. There was this kind of thing, a whole thing, that a gotcha moment that, you know, oh, he shouldn't be on the radio. I had no intentions of being on the radio. I knew the Commission of Man rules or the BAI rules in relation to that. And of course, it's up to every radio station to deal with that in whatever way they feel it necessary. But on Monday night, when the story went out, and I think Grip put it up, and the Sunday Business Post and a few others kind of had the basics of the story that I'd signed in the register, I was overwhelmed by the positivity. 95% of the comments were good, apart from one comment who said, can I have your used posters to keep the crows out of my field?
That's not even that negative. That's just a resourceful man. That's a resourceful man.
Europe. Because I think in Europe you can get to the root of the problem. I mean, look, what happens is you get directives from Europe. And as we all know, 75% of our legislation is based on European directives.
Joke.
But it's usually 4 years later before anything happens over here. And then all of a sudden you've got TDs in the Dáil debating an issue that was signed over for by MEPs 4 years ago. And it's probably changed somewhat since then, and will change in the future again. And before we know it, it's happened. And we don't feel we have time to debate it. I mean, we have our own legislation here which we debate in the Dáil or the Oireachtas or with the House of the Oireachtas before we pass it through, you know, the first, second stage, third stage, whatever it is. But with EU legislation and directives, it's 4 years later it happens. We've forgotten that we signed it over. Yeah. We've forgotten that we actually signed up for that. And I'll give you an example, the EU Migration Pact. We had MEPs in this country who disappear for 4.5 years. And I find it quite offensive to the voters. They disappear for 4.5 years. They turn up 4.5 years later, you know, to open a shop with cut a ribbon or something like that just to get your votes again. While they're over there, they're like the best boys and girls in the class, and they put their hand up for everything.
Yeah, they're just EU puppets, guys. I mean, it's just how it is, man.
And that's not what the European Common Market was originally designed for. It was meant to be countries working together.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're seeing this kind of almost like a dictatorship. And you're seeing all these European MEPs all just putting their hands up. But I think it's really going to change.
In what way is it a dictatorship?
Well, they feel that, well, look what we're sending over. They're all woke. I mean, you can disagree with that if you want.
But that's a different criticism than it's a dictatorship.
No,
I don't like who the Irish people have voted for as a different criticism than Europe's a dictatorship.
Europe is a dictatorship, guys. They create the directives and then we have to implement them. What does that mean, guys? There's no debate there. I mean, you think you have a debate because we have such a small input into the EU. We get the runaround, guys. We get the runaround. Ireland has to do this, and then we have to do it, guys. That's a dictatorship. We have no say in that. If you think you have a say in that, you're mistaken.
I feel that there's a huge amount of pressure on these MEPs to bring in laws. We saw what happened last week in Brussels, of course. And I'm not talking about the extreme and the right wing, but of course Nigel Farage and Viktor Orban wanted to have a talk in the convention. And every hotel they went to, it was closed down. So much so, the police were called to stop the event from happening. And this is what happens in the European Parliament as well. Debate, just like it is in the Dáil here, is shut down. For example, recently, Matty McGrath wanted to talk about immigration in Ireland. He wasn't allowed to have the debate. You're accused of being right-wing. You're accused of being racist.
Well, no,
and
sorry,
I'm not basing my whole campaign on immigration.
Because people accuse him of being right-wing. He was not allowed at the time to do it the standing orders of the Dáil and how you get an item onto the agenda. I mean, they do discuss immigration.
But look at the time they've given to one of the most important pieces of legislation this country will ever see. We're handing away our sovereignty, our control over our own immigration laws, which are pretty good laws, by the way. They're pretty robust legislation. We're handing that over to the European Union. And it's allowed a half an hour in the Oireachtas to question the Minister for Justice. Are the people really informed about it? We're being sold it as some sort of wonderful package that's going to make a difference. Everything that's in that, we can do ourselves. We don't need permission from Europe to put reception centres at Dublin Airport.
Yeah.
We don't need...
That's true. It is a weird one, guys. I don't know why we get so much from Europe. It's like we need this control. And it's almost like we've been, under British rule for so long. Now we need to be ruled by another place. It's like, Jesus, do we ever have sovereignty? Really? Come on.
Permission from Europe to have a fast-track system to process people quicker. We don't need that. We should be doing that right now. We've a Minister for Justice who doesn't even know her own figures at the moment. When questioned by Michael McNamara, she has no idea how many people are being even deported. They've lost control of the situation.
But the fact that
I'm not even for or against immigration. Like, obviously, my mum is a flippin' immigrant and all that. Everyone that I know is a flippin' immigrant. You know what I mean? I don't even, it's crazy the idea, but you should have a law stating clearly what the hell the law is, guys. I don't know. It's just they have no idea what's going on. It's not even the laws itself, guys. You know what it is? It's mismanagement by the government. They're just so bad, man. She doesn't even know the numbers. It could be anything. Oh, it's like a feather in the wind. You're just blowing here one day. It might be okay. It might not be okay.
I don't want immigration to be the number one issue.
Of people, though, within the European Union, is that an argument in favour of some version of the EU Migration Pact? Whether you disagree with aspects of it, that there's a common approach.
Right. That's good, guys. That's if you're an EU citizen, maybe coming across could be okay, but not everyone. I mean, there should be background checks. If you're a criminal, if you're not suited for this area, if your job is taken by someone locally. I don't know, guys. I don't know. There's different arguments we could discuss there.
We talked about the purpose, the aim of the European Economic Community initially, and then the single market, and then the European Union as its descendant is working together.
Yeah.
Like, this is an example of working together.
But it's not.
You can't kind of say the point is working together, but actually I don't want to work together on this one.
When it comes to the free movement of people within Europe, we democratically voted for that in a referendum. Mind you, it took 2 referendums. We democratically voted for that.
Yeah.
We knew what we were getting into.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have a problem with that. And I want to say from the outset...
Did we not vote for this in Lisbon?
Well, we didn't really. We didn't vote for what we see at the moment, which is a free-for-all, and people being treated inhumanely, stacked up in tents on Mount Street.
And those people, are they from the EU as well? Like maybe if some guy is coming over... doctor or whatever to help the economy and there's jobs for that, we need that, but just flooding the place with people, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, they need to do research on that. There needs to be studies done on that, guys, because if you say you're for or against that, you look a bit nuts, to be fair. One guy says you're left wing, you're globalist, the other guy says you're right wing, you're flipping Nazi. So there needs to be a sort of a study done on that, and then we can establish, okay, we'll cut it off first and establish, okay, who's coming in? This guy coming in good, this guy coming in bad. They said recently that like 80% of people, or some crazy number, didn't have any identification. It's like, Bro, if anyone comes up to me in the street and says to me, hey, do this, I'm always like, I need identification. I don't know who you are. You're a stranger. Like, dude, the world is crazy. There are psychopaths out there. So to say that, oh, let's just let this kind of thing in, it's very dangerous, guys. Most people are probably great. I would say 90% of people are probably great, but you just don't know, guys. There's that 10% sleeper that could be crazy. That needs to be kind of somehow curtailed, monitored, or sort of sieved like through, sort of some sort of background check or something. Yeah, it's just free falls are just wild, guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, there needs to be some sort of logical consistency. I can't go to the US or anywhere actually outside of Europe freely. I would love to go anywhere outside freely, but no, I need a visa, which sucks. So either have the whole world with no passports or anything, or have have everywhere with passports. It has to be legally, consistent, logically consistent as well.
People who campaigned in the Lisbon referendum who said this is exactly what we were voting for.
They didn't vote for. At no point did we suggest that we were voting for open borders, and that's essentially what we have at the moment. Now, I want to say at the outset,
where do we have open borders at the moment?
And I want to be abundantly clear.
You just said we've got robust laws in this country.
I'm going to come back to that in a second. We have robust laws that are not being implemented. I'll come back to the open borders in a second. But in this country, and I want to make it abundantly clear, diversity is our key. It's our strength. People mix the two arguments up together. I hear politicians do that. Oh, what about the hospitals? And, what about all the hospitality industry? We need people. Of course we do.
Yeah.
And they benefit our economy wonderfully and greatly. And
absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Shit, like I say, guys, when we came back here, my dad's Irish. When we came back here, all my parents did and all I did was work all the time. Working is great. You're helping the economy, but there are some people that are just nuts, guys. There might be a guy that stabbed up the whole Parnell Square last year, and all this craziness. So you don't know, guys. You need to monitor people. You need to, actually, and I'm sure the Gardaí are good. They do that. The FBI actually work with the Gardaí, and they monitor certain people. So, it's good. In some ways, it's good. In some ways, it's just you need to be super careful, guys. People just having this free for all. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Shit.
Love diversity in Ireland. I think Ireland is such a wonderful country and Dublin is such a wonderful city. But we can't have a situation where it becomes a free-for-all. And it has become a free-for-all when we see today that out of 7,000 people, only something like, 3 people were deported. Even though many of them, and these are people who were refused asylum.
Jeez.
There has to be a safe country to send people back to. We have to have a policy. And we do have a policy, but for some reason our Minister for Justice doesn't believe she can implement these laws.
Because you know what it is, guys? It's not even the people. People always want to blame, these dangerous people coming across the border or whatever. It's not those people. Nobody cares about those people. They care about the government because they come here and it's like let's say, I've said this example before. Let's say you flipping are like €500 behind on your car payment, you're €1,000 behind on your mortgage, you're all behind on your bills, and then all of a sudden you're flipping, your cousin from Dublin says, Chris, man, will you flipping give us €500 there, bye? I'm like, no, dude, I don't have that kind of money. So, there is this sort of idea that there's no money here, that there's this not this like amazing place. If you come from some other country and you think that Ireland is gonna be good for you, bro, it was not good for us as a family. Like we had to work crazy hard. It was terrible the whole last 20 years, but only very recently has it been good. So, is it better than flipping somewhere in China? Who knows, guys? I don't know. Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? So you have to be kind of like a little bit objective with this. People think, the land of the free. We are in America, guys. People think that Ireland is like this some sort of utopia. They keep saying the richest country in Europe. Like, no, it's not, bro. Ireland is not rich. In some areas it is, but it's so expensive here. The homeless crisis is huge. It's just so many problems wrong with the place, and they keep making out like Ireland's some sort of utopia. It's ridiculous.
And if the laws are not adequate, there are laws. Let's change them. The idea that you can change laws. During COVID, it was what we consider an emergency. I believe this is an emergency. Change the laws.
What you being in Europe is going to do what in relation to all of that?
Okay. Well, firstly, the EU Migration Pact will change over time. Of course, every year that's going to change. Our quota on the amount of people we bring in will have to change. Those laws will have to change. They will be adapted over time. I want to be there for that. And I may not be able to stop the EU Migration Pact, although I would say everybody should talk to the local TD about that.
You know what I would say? He said the law would change. I don't want to make this video too long. You should be like a working professional. If you don't have like a degree or some sort of asset to bring to the country, you shouldn't even be allowed here, guys. Like, that's what my family's all professionals. Degrees, PhDs, masters. My family, we didn't just move here with shit and then, expect to become rich. That's like America, guys. We don't have that in Ireland. America's like, land of the free. You come here, a land of opportunity, and you come there and you become a millionaire. Yeah, maybe in America because their economy is like 29 trillion a flipping year. It's insane. Ireland's economy is not like that unless you have a amazing trade like mechanic or something like that, plumber, like some really good trade, or you're an IT specialist. You're not going to become rich here in Ireland, or can do sales. So those three things. If you're just a guy working in the shop or whatever, like I did for years, like you don't expect to have a good life. Your life will be the same working in the shop as it is working from China somewhere. It's just plain and simple, guys. But people don't want to like accept that. Like your life just isn't going to be better here. Like it just. Ireland is not, bro. Listen, everyone's leaving here. Why do you think all the people are leaving here? Like, this is ridiculous, bro.
Stop that. But I wouldn't have said yes to it in the first place. Like all our MEPs did, apart from 2 MEPs who didn't, and they didn't for different reasons altogether, and one didn't turn up. So I wouldn't be one who would have voted for that. And there will be other pieces of legislation like that and other directives in the EU, and I want to be part of it.
But relating to what, because I was looking through the website at the different, and listen, immigration and the EU Migration Pact, absolutely, I mean, that is within the bailiwick of the European Parliament and governing bodies.
We've got the Habitat Directive as well, which is there at the moment.
Irish government funding for NGOs, that has nothing to do with MEPs. Building more modular housing, nothing to do with
Europe.
Housing. Hiring more harder and tougher criminal.
That's a good one. Building modular housing. I talked about that before. You could solve the housing crisis in a week. People think I'm stupid. In a month. Give me a month. And the Irish money or whatever, taxpayer money, you'd solve that in a month, guys. Easy. It's just transportation people from the houses. It's just nothing. That's easy. The NGOs should be completely disbanded. That should be completely gone. NGOs are gone.
Sentences, nothing to do with Europe. Prioritising mental health and investing in step-down health. No, it's like you're asking people to elect you to the school board to fix the potholes.
I am part of a political party who stand for common sense on all these issues. And when you talk about, for example, housing, yes, there's a lot to do in the EU in relation to housing.
Specifically yours.
No,
some of them are the common to the party.
But you know why? Because I want people to know who I am. Because if they think I'm tough on crime...
When it comes to Europe, you're a single issue candidate.
No, absolutely. But do you think I don't make a difference? Because everybody makes a difference. Everybody makes a difference.
So sorry, when I go onto your website and it's got 4 issues there, it's got immigration, it's got NGOs, it's got housing,
yes,
and it has law and order.
Absolutely.
You're accepting that 3 of those are irrelevant in this campaign. You just said you're a single issue candidate.
I'm not.
You just said it.
I never said that.
I said, are you a single issue candidate?
Sorry,
you said yes.
Absolutely not. I can't.
You guys can see the agenda coming out here, guys. Why is he getting so fired up? Like if it was me, I'd be like, oh yeah, like really relaxed and chill. You only get fired up when you know the guy is just flipping. You have an agenda, guys. You're lying. Like the guy, this Kieran guy is bought and paid for. And like I said, guys, your local Irish brother and sister will sell your ass down the river, like for nothing, for money, guys. Can you imagine that shit?
Care about a lot more, and I said to you 3 times in the last 15 minutes that immigration is not the only thing I want to talk about. There are so many other things we need to talk about.
The rest of the things that you want to talk about on your website,
but I just mentioned the habitat.
He's not even anti-immigration. Like I don't know, like nobody really is anti-immigration. Like very few. It's more so I don't know why he's saying that. Like it's very strange.
I mean, that's something that affects us greatly in this country. We want to move on. We want to progress. Clontarf is in a really bad situation at the moment. But again, the Habitat Directive stops planning on many occasions because there's a rare spider living somewhere. So all of those things are handled at European level. That affects planning. That affects housing. The reason that I talk about those other things like climate, like housing, like whatever it happens to be is because I want people to know who I am and what I stand for.
But we don't have a housing crisis because of rare spiders.
I'm not suggesting.
We have a housing crisis because of the government, though. So let's not place the blame on anybody else except them. Okay, they had like 20 years to do it. They didn't do it, guys. Who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? This guy Kieran is bought and paid for, man. This is ridiculous, bro.
We do have a housing crisis, but we do have planning problems because of rare spiders.
We have planning issues, and the planning system is being overhauled. But again, I'm going to keep going.
Bro, he just went on. He just completely. Oh, let's just go over that one. He said it's been overhauled, like, and just completely just skirted off the issue. Come on, lads. This is ridiculous.
Back to this. I mean, so many
agriculture is also a huge issue. I mean, look,
but can you actually answer the questions I'm asking rather than the ones I haven't asked yet? Building more modular housing. Mm-hmm. What has that got to do with the European Union?
But all of it, what you're missing the point here is for somebody to vote for somebody to represent them on things that may come up over the next 4 or 5 years while I'm there. I want them to understand the type of person that I am. Yeah. And there is legislation. As you know, most of our legislation comes from European directives anyway. And that could be in relation to planning. It could be in relation to how we handle crime. It could be all of those things, education, everything else. So the reason I say those things on the website is for people to understand who I am.
Yeah.
Would you not be better off, though, running for the Dáil? There's going to be an election in the next 12...
that's... Okay, finally Kieran's got one thing correct, and maybe it is better off running in the Dáil. You know, probably. You know, I don't think running for the EU, because we should be flipping. I don't know, guys, leaving the EU, like, or curtailing it at least a little bit. No, maybe not leaving, but you know, we can curtail it and eventually do stuff. You know,
of months, and far more the issues that seem to excite you are issues that are debated and controlled here in Dublin rather than in Brussels.
You know what? The Dáil is a wonderful idea too. But in saying that, I believe I could do a lot more in Europe, because it frustrates me, and it frustrated me particularly 2 weeks ago, which was the main reasons I changed my mind and decided to run, was when I seen these MEPs we currently have walking in with their hands up before they even got in the door to sign over our sovereignty.
Facts.
And to sign over protecting our borders.
Facts.
And one of those MEPs only recently said, or suggested, even to suggest sovereignty was a good thing or protecting our borders was a good thing, was wrong. That these are negative connotations.
I mean, negative connotations is a flipping understatement. I mean, this is ridiculous, guys.
That's crazy. Since when do you have an MEP in Europe suggesting protecting your own borders is negative?
Come on, lads, come on. This is just basic stuff. It's not even left or right wing. This is just basic stuff. I'm like clueless son of a gun.
Lots of people getting in touch. I will say this for all the questioning. I think anybody who throws their hat in the ring is to be commended, because
I've just given up a job, a career of 30 years.
You're on the dole as well.
I'm on the dole. I'm on the
That's
dole.
a brave man.
So yeah, I mean, he gave up his job. He gave up his job at the news station, so he's not even at the news station anymore. Damn, that's crazy. I mean, he'll probably just start a YouTube channel with Gripped Media or something like that. Gripped Media might hire him or something, but he'll definitely be still in the forefront. So don't think that he's being negatively affected monetary wise. Okay, yeah, amazing guys, amazing talk. Kieran, a bit of a flipping, you know what I mean? Obviously bias. I would have Niall Boylan on my County Gains News Network. Reach out to him, guys. Let him know. But yeah, it's crazy because, like, when you think about the different ideas, would he be better off suited in the Dáil or in Ireland rather than the EU? Maybe. But the EU just seems like it's the elite, so like he has to go there and fight there as well. So yeah, unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I love you all. Stay free, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.